Please, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Like and subscribe and make little comment like this. The channel go up in the algorithm and there's more views. Also, I've done a neuroscience pack. I hope you really enjoy it. It's all to do with how children learn. There's activities and it's in the description. Thank you very much for your support and see you in the podcast.
What challenges have you faced in your journey through academia and work, especially balancing professional life and motherhood?
Yeah. I can talk about this for hours. I wouldn't bore people with that, but the most obvious is that there is no balance. So if you want to, even when I was just doing work and studying, because I did it for my undergrad psychology, then obviously you always miss time out for something, right? You can't make it perfectly balanced. And when you are part of a family, this becomes completely spoiled every day. My hardest challenge was just to find the time to actually immerse into my own studies. So even if I was able to study, I couldn't have this never-ending studying hours. So like until you exhausted by the knowledge or by the reading, I just had to do when other people were sleeping, for example. So this was a continuous fatigue, and I think I'm here not the only one, and I know I have only one child, if you can say that only. I know other mothers also doing this, and from my course as well, and I know mothers who have multiple children doing academic path or taking up studying. And it's extremely hard on a woman still. So while I don't necessarily always like the topic of how hard is to modern woman, it still is. And you also find, I think, I wouldn't call it prejudice, right? I don't like it, but these old schemas, I call them that. Yeah, well, sure, you're a woman, your job is this, you shouldn't do this and that because your role is to be with the child. So you get those looks, you get those comments that you don't have to do this, but personal motivation, I think, wins over these debates. And so women, if they want to do it, they will do it. It's just sacrificing too much sometimes, I think, either family life or personal care most of the times. So my personal care suffered a lot, unfortunately. I'm not talking about basic hygienics, but we know that mental health can be nurtured. That's a huge part of it. And you can't do academic life if you are not functioning mentally. Like you can't do maternal role either. Everybody forgets that, but you can't do any other roles that you're required to do. So I think it's still hard on women, but I know that there are societies where this is not. But it's not a question, but it's more balanced. So it depends where you live, and I'm still lucky. I get plenty of support. So my mother, my partner, and everybody who could add to my academic journey, they did. So I can't even complain, So, but a lot of hurdles.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this your personal journey in this way. For me, it was the same, if I may share that. When my children were little, it was really, really difficult because I really wanted to study again, but I was studying at nighttime when they were having a nap and when they were, and the biggest thing for me was the lack of sleep, and so you always
thank
try.
You. Thank you. And I didn't even mention, my favorite topic.
and the lack of sleep was actually, you were talking about mental health, but I think sleep is sleep deprivation really affects the mental. It's completely interrelated, but at the same time, as a mother, you're so eager to learn more, to have a normal life, to do more things. I mean, I'm a very passionate person, so I felt frustrated. I wanted to look after my children like 100%, but at the same time, I also wanted to learn about childhood education in order to be a better help for them. So it was, but then I didn't sleep, so it was.
Yeah,
But
so that was my life, as you described it, for the last for 2 years for sure, but more it was. And yeah, and my favorite comment is that oh, you can well, first is that you just learn to not sleep, and then science says that it's not true, so you can't catch up on sleep, unfortunately. So it's like it's a basic need, unfortunately, sleep. So you can't just like, okay, I don't sleep now for a week and then I catch up 2 weeks later, and it has a huge role in the mood um, swinging, obviously. So I'm actually very into this research area in relation to maternal roles. Also, I meant to say that they also tell you that you just have to accept that you're just a mother now. So this contradiction, I love it. Like, there's no such a thing that you are just a mother now, because you are a person before the baby is born. And if you are a person who is interested in science and who is interested in anything, like just reading books 24/7, then that part of you is kind of dead in that period. And obviously you want that ability to work, and not talking about the time that you want to be sometimes alone and you just want to be alone and do your own thing. So I think many women struggle with this, that it could be anything, like nail painting. So it doesn't have to be science, doesn't have to be involved in brain activity or yoga. Like, I never went back to do yoga, basically, because of the lack of sleep and my schedules and my all other stuff. So and I'm still I'm still trying to get it back, so yeah, huge part of mental health is and people just think that the problem is you who can't accept it. It's just gone now, but I think it's more complex than that.
yeah, and then also in society, I remember when I was a young mother, when people would ask me, "So what do you do?" I would be like, "Oh, I'm just a mother." I just,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that being just a mother is actually, it's so much more. There's so
Yeah.
much, and I think, in fact, we are absolutely amazing when I think about all the ththings I used to do when my kids were little. It's just absolutely incredible. And I don't think many people can sustain. You get up at night, you just get up, or, it's really amazing. Women are really amazing. Anyway, and men too, of course.
I think so. Men too, but it's different. So we
they have
should
different roles.
finally accept it, that it's different. Like,
Yes. My
not
personal
necessarily just from the child point of view, but it is obviously. But from other point of view, that we function, we are always multifunctional. Like most of the women that I know, they are multifunctional.
Yes.
And the men sometimes just okay with one or two, three things, that not all of them, and they are also very different. So, but
I mean, that
the
was
pressure
yeah, that was my
that you are the
personal
mother.
experience. Yeah, that was my personal
Yeah,
experience. So
yeah, we
it's
can't generalize on that level.
no.
I'm always talking from my perspective as well. So
Mm.
I emphasize it as well a lot, that it's my trip and I see this, and I always hope to find something else, but I find the same thing. So yeah, not easy. I would say so, and yeah, I think um, so. Women achieve the power. They achieve the feminist things to do, like, and I think it's good. But now it's the time to sort out balance. So in certain societies, they compensate for that. If you have more multiple children, then you are allowed to take more time off.
Mm.
Um, it's fair enough, you know, so on certain level, because the more you have your hands on, the more important that you are balanced. So yeah, balance is nowhere to find these days. I think,
No, it's very difficult. Yeah.